had a feeling it wasn't going to be all gravy for the Canes, right?
No.
We said this yesterday. Starting last Thursday, it felt like the Canes were consistently one-upping themselves with good news. It was like, Freddie's back, great news. Win against Montreal, great news. Traded for Guentzel, great news. Traded for Kuznetsov, great news. Won another game, great news. Won another game, great news. And it was just win, win, win. And you knew that wasn't going to continue forever and ever and ever, right? You knew it wasn't. I had a feeling there was going to be the obstacle, and a 1-0 loss to the Rangers is not ideal, but it is understandable. Like, it wasn't going to go on forever. Jake Guentzel played, and it wasn't a hat trick. That's understandable. Here's Guentzel and how he felt he did in his first game.
Yeah, I felt it right. Definitely think there's more, but obviously that was a good team over there, and they played well, so I got to give them credit. But, yeah, just hopefully we'll get more next time.
It's extremely understandable to not be mid-season form 2 seconds after getting on the ice. For a new team with new players to get used to, coming off an injury, right? Even if you were playing for Pittsburgh still, it would have been completely understandable that he doesn't go out there and dominate from the first minute he's back on the ice just after dealing with an injury. So again, here's Jake Guentzel on playing on the same line as Necas and Kuzi, something that's going to take him time.
Yeah, I mean, those two are high-end skill players, so for me, I'm just trying to find the open ice, and I know they'll find me, so I'm sure each game that goes we'll find some more chemistry, and hopefully we'll build off this one.
So just to be clear, that line has two guys that were traded for within the last week, two guys that even on their previous team hadn't played in a while.
Yeah, for various reasons.
And sure, they didn't score last night, right? Kuzi hasn't had a point yet since he got here. I'm not worried because that makes sense. Here is the thing, though. If the moves they made, bringing in Guentzel and Kuznetsov, if they worked, if they were the right moves, which I believe they will, the Canes win that game a month from now.
Yeah.
Last night, that was the game that you bring those guys in for, right? If your defensive system is good enough to keep the game 1-0, right? And what is it? It's a goal off a skate.
Yeah,
like
off a Brady Shea skate with 8 seconds left in the first period.
A little fluky goal. If your defensive system is holding the Rangers to that one goal, that one fluky off a skate goal, you brought in Guentzel and Kuzi for the reason of we need a well-timed goal. For the reason of we need a clutch goal. I'm not expecting them to be mid-season form the first moment they step onto the ice, but I am expecting them a month from now to be the difference between losing that game and winning that game, and that's when you can start judging it. Not right now because it's too soon. 3 weeks from now, 4 weeks from now, the postseason, that game has to be a win for the Canes. That's why you made those deals.
And we talked about in the past, whether it was with Dmitry Orlov or Michael Bunting, who was obviously signed in the offseason before obviously getting traded for Jake Guentzel, or even last year with guys like Brent Burns, it took about 15 games to get really acclimated to the system that Rob brind'amour has in terms of their defensive structure, where you got to be on the ice, because they play different than most other teams in the NHL do. Well, guess where that 15-game mark is? Right at the end of the regular season. So hopefully you're using that time to get exactly up to speed, maybe even a little bit before that, and then you are ready to go come playoff time. That's really where it matters. That's really where it matters. Come playoff time, mid-April, if you're ready and you're 100% humming at that point, good. That's all that matters.
What it allows you to do is expect to get the better of the other team's good. I'm going to, earlier today you said like, oh, bold analysis, right? You're better when your best player plays. Here's my bold analysis of the day.
Yeah.
Shesterkin is pretty good.
Shesterkin? Yeah.
There you go.
Him too.
Pretty darn good, right? And when he's out there doing his thing, it makes it so if you didn't make the move for Guentzel, right? If you didn't bring in Kuzi, you would expect like, this one's going to be a rough one, right? Hopefully we can tie it 0-0. You make those moves so the other team can have a goalie that's playing really well and making a bunch of saves, and you still expect to get the better of them, right? Because you have 2-3 elite scoring lines, 2-3 units of power play of elite scoring, and you're going, he could be a great goalie that's out there really getting it done. And we're just going to keep sending waves and waves of good chances and high leverage shots and keep attacking until we break through. So last night, to me, it doesn't necessarily prove anything about the guys that were brought in because it's just too darn soon. But it does reemphasize why they were brought in.
Yeah.
That game is why they were brought in, right? The Rangers now, their lead grows in the division and, that's whatever.
Okay, fine.
Yeah, it happens. If you match up against them in the postseason, that's when it's going to truly be kind of rubber meets the road, right? Somebody on Twitter, really was combative, saying the better team won. Look at the season long standings. And I'm going this season, the Rangers have been the better team, right?
Yeah.
That's fair to say. The Canes got significantly better in a specific way within the last week. That specific way is finding the back of the net in clutch situations. You brought in Kuzi, who you mentioned, right? We should go look for on all the cup pictures here in the Capital One Arena here in DC, where they're playing the men's basketball tournament in the ACC, also where the Caps play their games. We should go look for Kuzi because he was on that cup team.
Mm-hmm. Orlov, yeah.
True, and Orlov. We could go to Pittsburgh and look for pictures of Guentzel scoring a whole bunch of postseason goals. That's why those guys are here. So, again, last night there was one goal scored. It went off the skate of one of the Canes and in.
Yeah.
I'm not going to write that off as anything other than a defensive battle, and I'm not going to write the Canes off as anything other than a team that got much better at offense, but it hasn't quite gelled yet.
Real quick, we should point out, Kochetkov was awesome. Kochetkov was awesome last night.
I was listening to the Adam Gold show as we connected here. Adam made a great point. He's like, I'm not sure the impressiveness wasn't better for the Canes goalie.
Yeah.
It at least was a they got into that kind of anything you can do, I can do better deal, where it was one highlight save for one highlight save. Again, it was a fluky goal that kind of led to it. And I'm not going to hold that against the Canes right now. 3 weeks from now, I might. Right now, I'm not holding it against the Canes. And I think that's fair and borderline. If you're doing anything other than that, you're kind of unrealistic. With that being said, I still hope they're awesome. I still hope that, Guentzel gets a hat trick in his next game. I just don't think it's fair to expect anything along those lines.